It's Thursday, October 21. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica says the island's employed labor force grew by 8.3% in July. We'll have a breakdown of STATIN's labor force survey in the business report. The Bustamante Hospital for Children, the only one of its kind in the Caribbean, got a shot in the arm on Wednesday. The hospital received hundreds of much-needed personal protective equipment, PPEs, from the Diaspora for Children Foundation to assist with the fight against the coronavirus. The donation includes 360 PPE gowns, 1,300 disposable face masks with air loops, 720 N95 masks, 224 face shields, 1,750 powder-free nitric exam gloves, 2,400 Rhino Original Nitrile powder-free gloves, 175 cloth face coverings, 35 wipes, and 22 hand sanitizers. Senior Medical Officer at the Bustamante Hospital for Children, Dr. Michelle Ann Richards-Dawson, says the donation is timely. The Diaspora for Children Foundation is a U.S.-based non-profit group focused on child development. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has reiterated the government's goal to administer 1 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines by November. He made the projections during a recent tour of vaccination sites in the Southwest St. Anne constituency.
I would say that by November we will reach 1 million doses. And then after that, the numbers are going to increase gradually. When we pass the 50% mark, then there will be no question about the need for having a vaccine option. Some people want to call it mandate. I'm not mandating and forcing anybody. If you don't want to take it, it's your business. But don't expect the rest of the society to bear the consequence of your hesitancy.
This is part of the government's vaccine mobilization and public education campaign. The vaccination mobilization and public education tours are designed to create greater awareness about the safety and efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccines.
When somebody gets ill with COVID, we have to take the hospital beds that are there for people who need to do their elective surgery and other treatments. We have to take those beds away to treat COVID. When we return to normal, that won't happen again. So if you get COVID, you will be treated like any other patient and not specially. So we are moving into that space. But I have to come to you and explain it to you. And I have to reason with you so that you understand that the government isn't holding down anybody, which is what some people would want you to think. We're not holding down anybody and putting a needle in your arm. That's not the case. Everybody in Jamaica is free. We take freedom as a priority in this country. But freedom comes with responsibility.
The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, are designed to end poverty, hunger, and discrimination against women and girls. The UN Residence Coordinator in Jamaica, Dr. Gary Conneal, says his team is focused on the deliverables of these development goals. In his address at the virtual UN Partnership Forum on Wednesday, Dr. Conneal explained how one tool, development financing, is being used to achieve some of those goals. PBCJ's Simone Absalom Gale has that story.
The UN's resident coordinator in Jamaica, Dr. Gary Conneal, says his team has embarked on a number of programs to support development financing. He notes that it has been a multi-ministry approach.
These include strengthening the public finance management capacity of the Ministry of Finance, the Ministries of Education, Youth and Information, and Health and Wellness, as well as modernizing the social protection system in Jamaica, which includes piloting more efficient, effective, and safe payment processes within Jamaica's social protection system, and undertaking gender gap analyses of the policy and legislative social protection frameworks to ensure responsiveness of the system to the needs of men and women, thereby narrowing existing inequalities.
He says his team will be submitting another proposal to the joint SDG fund to establish Jamaica's first innovative impact investment fund,
which seeks to raise $36 million over 5 years to support high-impact SMEs and startups. This work is being supported by UNDP, UNICEF, UNCDF, Draper Ventures, Delta Capital Partners, and other local entities.
Dr. Kaniel says the goals of the SDGs can be met with solid partnerships like those set to be made during this year's 3-day forum.
The relationship with partners should never be seen as a one-way street. No, I believe that if we work together, we can realize benefits for all of us. After all, in the end, the objective is to encourage socioeconomic development in Jamaica, raise people out of poverty, provide quality healthcare for all, ensure that all children have access to education, aid in the fight against crime and violence, help all women and men to achieve their best and highest potential, prevent the negative impacts of climate change, and achieve sustainable and inclusive economic growth.
For the news on PBCJ, I'm Simone Absalom Gale.
One member of parliament is calling for more tangible means to keep tabs on persons who are out on bail. The suggestion follows news that Davian Bryan, the man suspected of abducting 2 girls in St. Thomas recently, was out on bail in Portland on firearm and rape charges. Dr. Michelle Charles, Member of Parliament for St. Thomas East, wants offenders to be monitored through the use of electronic monitoring devices.
There are many issues to consider when evaluating our bail system in Jamaica. But I have a concern. When someone is placed on bail and is prohibited from a community where an offense is alleged to have occurred, they have to now move to a different community. That shifting of problem can lead to multiple problems, unless there's a structured monitoring of the person who is on bail. Madam Speaker, for instance, we had over 800 persons looking for one man in my constituency. Imagine, Madam Speaker, if that one man had an ankle bracelet on. Madam Speaker, I am calling for the use of technology to enhance the capabilities of the security forces to be able to track somebody. We should not have so much difficulty finding someone that is interacting with our own court. If he had an ankle bracelet, we would have known exactly where he took it off, if he took it off, or where he is if he kept it on.
Ms. Charles was speaking in Parliament on Wednesday.
And I want to warn those monsters in our society that we are watching and we will not accommodate your nastiness. We will not accommodate you stalking, raping, or terrorizing our children. I am calling on all well-thinking Jamaicans, men and women, to push them out of the darkness. Let us know who they are. Everything done in the dark must come to the light.
A man who was believed to be the suspect in the abduction of the 2 girls in Bath was allegedly killed by angry mobs in Llandewey, St. Thomas minutes sometime after 7 o'clock Wednesday morning. Commanding officer in the St. Thomas Division, Superintendent Alison Byfield, spoke to the media about the incident.
About 7:30 a.m. this morning, the police responded to reports of a injured man in the Carriers Road area of Llandewey. The police proceeded to the scene and they saw an injured man laying on the ground on his back in pants, blue jeans only, no shirt. The police called for assistance and the man was placed in a service vehicle and rushed to the Princess Margaret Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at about 8:30, or I think 8:40 he was pronounced dead by a doctor on duty. We are not sure of the identity of this person. There's an identification card floating around. We are examining it and we are trying to contact persons who can identify this person.
Member of Parliament for St. Thomas Western, James Robertson, called the incident unfortunate.
So this is just one more death, one more crime that the police have to solve, because I am not sure that this has anything to do with even mistaken identity. The community, if you notice, is very calm. It's not reacting as if they have any blood on their hands as a community. So the lynching and tying to the Llandewey community and West St. Thomas, the thought that a lynching took place at this time is early. I am begging the residents of St. Thomas and other areas in Portland, where we read in the newspaper the family member of the gentleman who abducted and who is now on the run, 2 young ladies who has committed serious crimes. I am begging the residents of St. Thomas and other communities, do not take the law into your hands. 2 wrongs will not make a right.
For the third consecutive week, gas and diesel prices have gone up. We get these and other pertinent market details in this business report. Jamaica has recorded an unemployment rate of 8.5%. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica STATIN says this is 4.1 percentage points lower than the 12.6% recorded for the same period in 2020. Speaking Wednesday during the Institute's quarterly press brief, STATIN Director General Carol Coy says in July, 93,400 persons entered the labor force.
Based on the findings of the labor force, it is estimated that 1.2 million persons were in the employed labor force. This was 93,400 more, or 8.3% more, when compared to July 2020. The number of employed males increased by 55,700, or 9%, while employed females increased by 37,700, or 7.5%, when compared to July in 2020.
Persons are considered employed if they are engaged in economic activities for at least 1 hour during the reference week. Meanwhile, Ms. Coy says the combined increase in the number of persons employed in the construction, real estate, and other business services industry groups accounted for over 50% of the increase in the employed labor force.
There were 118,300 persons employed in the construction industry, and this is an increase of 28.3%. Of the 26,100 persons more in construction, males accounted for 25,900 of these persons. For the real estate and other business services industry, there were 115,100 persons employed, an increase of 23%. Females accounted for the largest increase in this industry, 11,900, or 25.4%.
Data on the employed labor force by occupation groups indicates that elementary occupation, service workers, and shop and market sales workers accounted for over 50% of the recorded increase.
The number of persons employed in elementary occupation was 155,700, an increase of 19.3% relative to July 2020. The group, service workers and shop and market sales workers, increased by 9.9% in July 2021. Other occupation groups with large increases were clerks, which went up by 18,300 persons, professionals, senior officials, and technicians, which increased by 10,400, and craft and related trade workers, which went up by 2,900.
STATIN says the reduced unemployment rate was driven mainly by a decline in the male unemployment rate, which decreased by 5.2% to 6.3%, and females by 2.9 percentage points to 11.1%. STATIN's Director General says the unemployment rate is still some way from the 7.8% achieved in 2019.
A review of the unemployment rates for the July quarters from 2017 to 2021 show a decline in unemployment rate for males and females from July 2017 to July 2019. The unemployment rate, however, moved up to 11.3% in July 2017, from 11.3% in July 2017 to move down, to 7.8% in July 2019. The unemployment rate for both sexes, however, increased to 12.6% in 2020. For 2021, we are seeing the unemployment rate at 8.5%, and this is 4.1 percentage points lower than July 2020.
For the Business Report on PBCJ, I'm Gabrielle Thompson. Effective Thursday, October 21, motorists will pay more at the pumps for gasoline and diesel. 87 and 90 octane gasoline will be sold for $157.62 and $163.04 per liter, respectively up by $3.06 each. Automotive diesel fuel saw a price hike of $3.03 and will be sold for $158.11 per liter. Ultra-low sulfur diesel is up by $3.04 and will be sold for $162.56 per liter. Meanwhile, kerosene saw a $3.03 price increase and will be sold for $135.85 per liter. Propane liquid petroleum is up by $1.47 and will be sold for $80.49 per liter. Butane liquid petroleum will be sold for $87.96 per liter after an increase of $2.65. Be on the lookout for price changes as marketing companies and retailers will add their markup to these prices. In foreign exchange trading for Wednesday, October 20, the US dollar sold for an average $153.18. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $125.06. The pound sterling traded for $210.86, and the euro sold for an average $181.58. In Wednesday's trading session, the JSE combined index declined by 348 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 96 stocks, of which 41 advanced, 40 declined, and 15 traded firm. The junior market index declined by 9 points to close at over 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for Blue Power Group Limited, Cargo Handlers Limited, and Caribbean Cement Company Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, 1834 Investments Limited, and Access Financial Services Limited. Trading firm were CAC 2000 9.5% preference shares, Express Catering Limited, and Indies Pharma Jamaica Limited ordinary shares. The Limnas and Bards Limited was the volume leader with over 4.3 million units, followed by Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with over 2.8 million units, and Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with over 2.1 million units. In market data for oil, prices rose on Thursday to extend gains from the previous session as U.S. crude and fuel inventories tightened further, with supplies of gasoline hitting a 2-year low, pointing to strong demand. Brent crude futures climbed 17 cents to $85.99 a barrel after rising 0.9% the previous day. West Texas Intermediate crude futures gained 37 cents to $83.79 a barrel. Are you feeling stressed? Give yourself and your palate a break. Come with us as we trek this week's culinary trails to chill and grill.
Chill and Grill came about because my family has a farm, and throughout all the years, the meat price of pig was on a steady price despite the cost of feeds and the different inputs going up. So out of doing playing dominoes and doing a little, you just throw on a grill for your friends, that was where Chill and Grill started actually 3 years ago, where we use locally grown meat, because sometimes I don't have enough on my farm, so I have to buy from Copperwood or buy elsewhere. But we use locally grown meats, and then we season. Part of our secret is that Chef and I, we season at least 5 days in advance. So it gives the meat time to marinate. And then, as you know, crispy pork, which is one of our specialties, is, oh Lord, how do you describe it apart from divine? But when you're a pork lover, crispy pork is the best way to have pork, because it's like pork served with love. That is the La Caja China box. That is the secret to the crispy pork. That is the secret to the crunchy, crackling pork skin that everyone loves. It actually was invented in Cuba, in Chinatown in Cuba, mimicking how they cook pork. You know, like bury it in the ground and put the coal on top. So the pork sits in the bottom and then you slow cook it. So you get this moist, well-cooked pulled pork effect. Awesome, awesome, awesome. In fact, some people call it the magic of the box because it's magical. 1 week, a customer said, I don't eat pork, can you do salmon? And we did grill salmon. And the gentleman's report, when he left here, he sent a picture. By the time he was at Manningsville Road, it was finished. So we are versatile. So we will cook what you want. But we do have steamed fish. We do have roast fish. And we do have jerk chicken like you have never had it before. Because the box, again, there's magic in the box. Always, we have barbecue pigtail, which is a Jamaican favorite. We have steam and roast fish. We have jerk chicken. We have chef's specialty is barbecue honey glazed ribs. Now I promise you, come and taste the ribs. It will be like no other. Seasoned with love and cooked and served with passion. We use all natural products, and so it will be natural for us to do natural juices. I have a young man who is a friend of my son who makes natural juices.
Hi, I'm Nigel Brady. I am the founder of Nature's Sip, and what we offer is a myriad of flavors of 100% natural beverages, right? All homegrown produce, and you have the choice of sweetened or unsweetened. Most customers tend to prefer the unsweetened because you actually feel the wellness in it at the first sip. So initially, that's the sip of change that we intend to offer or already offering to the diets of Jamaicans.
So we are a family setting, although we can't have the gathering now because of Corona. But if you want to go someplace where you're comfortable and feel mamas love them, Chill and Grill is the place for you. What we have done because of COVID, everything has been converted to grab and go. So we invested in a warmer where we can keep the food warm, and then we schedule pickups. So if you don't want to come out of your car, you can tell us what time you're coming and we'll meet you at the gate and deliver it. Or if you want it delivered at a small cost, we'll send it to you. If you are having a private gathering and you just want awesome grilled foods, or matter of fact, awesome any foods, you can call us and we will package it and deliver it for you. Because the idea is we grill and you chill. So you just bring the orders to us and we will deliver it to you wherever you are. So you have fun and stay safe in your neck of the woods. We now cook on every last Saturday, but food is ready from 9 in the morning. So we cater to the man who wants to go bird bush or want to go beach. Him can come early, pick up him crispy pork and head to the hills. Why Chill and Grill? If you want succulent pork, if you want pork that you will lick your fingers, if you think Kentucky is finger licking, come to Chill and Grill. I promise you, you're gonna get food with love. Food served with love and with passion.
In regional news, even as vaccines continue to be administered for COVID-19, the Ministry of Health in Trinidad and Tobago now has another task on its hands in urging the population to get vaccinated for the flu. The Chief Medical Officer says the country has received a first shipment of 50,000 influenza vaccines, which are now available at all health centers. Sunil Lala reports.
We have placed an order for 100,000 vaccines, influenza vaccines for this year. We have received the first 50,000 from PAHO, and we're expecting a tranche of 50,000 again.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parashram is urging the population to get vaccinated for influenza, which can keep people from getting sick or reducing the severity of the disease. He reminds that there have been deaths recorded due to the flu in the past. Dr. Parashram says up to around mid-October last year, there were 830 suspected cases of influenza with no deaths recorded, while there have been 115 suspected cases for this year so far. He adds that suspected cases of the flu could also be tested for COVID-19.
The same sample that we take for COVID-19, which is a nasopharyngeal swab, we also take to identify influenza. Severe acute respiratory illnesses, we take that sample and we test for both things. So we can also tell with that sampling technique if you have influenza or you have COVID.
Dr. Parashram says there is still capacity to do additional tests should there be a surge of people presenting with symptoms.
The country can do anywhere between 11 and 1,200 cases per day in terms of testing. We're doing about 600 to 800 at this point in time. So we have some reserve capacity.
The CMO says the main target for this vaccine would be children, adults over 65, people suffering from NCDs, the pregnant population and healthcare workers. He also has some advice as to how long someone should wait to get the flu vaccine after taking the COVID-19 vaccine.
When you have your second dose of a 2-dose regime, you wait at least 2 weeks before you have your influenza vaccine and vice versa.
The CMO assures that there is sufficient stock of Tamiflu, which is used to treat the influenza illness. Sonolala, TTT News.
In sports, we are courtside with netball. Jamaica's Sunshine Girls trounced Trinidad and Tobago's Calypso Girls 73-22 at the National Indoor Sports Center on Wednesday to complete a 3-0 sweep of series. The girls won the first two encounters 71-22 and 64-32 respectively. In basketball, Jamaica's men's and women's teams are down to compete in the 2021 International Federation of Basketball Associations FIBA Americup 3-on-3 Basketball Championships. The championships will be held November 12 to 14 in Miami. The top 3 teams from the 4 groups in both the men's and women's preliminary rounds will qualify to play in the championships and battle for titles. This is the first time that Jamaica would be participating in the prestigious championships. Jamaica's men's and women's teams will be selected sometime next week before they leave for the championships in Florida. And that's our package. Join us tomorrow right here as we bring you more news and sports. You're watching PBCJ, the People's Station.